Hey everybody, it's Brooke from the Buttered Home. Welcome to my messy kitchen. Tonight we're going to be making homemade biscuits. Now I know a lot of people are a little scared of this. Don't be. I mean, it's really easy and it's just flour and buttermilk, and if they don't turn out, you can redo them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 425 degrees. While that's heating up, we're going to come over here. And right here what I have is 2 cups of self-rising flour. I have a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar, and I'm going to dump those in. And this is my quick and easy method of sifting. So you want to sift those in, and you can use a sifter if you want to, but a whisk works really, really good. Now, since I'm not prepared, I need somebody to come get the dogs. I have about a cup of buttermilk, and I have a half a stick of butter, or a 1/4 of a cup cubed, and it's cold butter. So what you want to do now is just make somewhat of a little well in here and put your butter in. Now, you've probably heard your grandmama or somebody like that say, cut your butter in, and there's a few ways that you can do that. First of all, your best tools that you have, or that any cook has, is clean hands, because you're going to use those tonight. So I have a pastry cutter. I've had this thing probably as long as I've been married, and I use it often. But if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use just a fork. A fork works good, it just takes a little bit longer. The best thing you can use, though, is your hands. But we're going to start out with a pastry cutter just so I can show you about what you're doing. So the idea is just to kind of press the butter into the salt, the sugar, and the flour. Now it's cold, so it's going to take a little bit, but you just want it to kind of resemble peas by the time you're done. Now, the problem with a pastry cutter is that butter tends to kind of roll up on it. So you have to stop every once in a while and clean it off. Now the other method that you can use is a fork. Ooh, and you make a mess. And you just press down on the butter into the flour. But the easiest method to use is your fingertips. And the reason why this is best is because you can feel what's going on. You can kind of bring the butter to temperature and squeeze it a little, but you don't want to melt it. So what I'm doing is I'm just working the butter in with the flour and just pinching it and making smaller little pieces of butter. See? And your hands are going to be dirty anyway, so you might as well just get on in there. This is probably the lengthiest part, but it is the most important part. And the reason why is because the butter kind of gets into the flour and it expands, and whenever you put it in the oven and it all heats up together, they make little bubbles and they burst, and that's what makes the little billowy pillows that everybody likes in their biscuits. So now we've done that, you see it kind of resembles, of course, peas. So now we just make another little well, and this is the part that I do exclusively with a fork. So now you add in your buttermilk, and I just do a little bit at a time. I have a cup measured out. You may or may not need it. But the technique that I'm going to show you tonight is one that I kind of developed on my own, And it's based off the same premise as making a pie crust. I know that sounds crazy, but if you work your biscuits too much, they're going to be tough. They're going to be chewy. I like, and this is horrible, but those cheap Wop biscuits in the grocery store that have like the flaky layers. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So this kind of almost recreates that here at home. So we're just going to add just a little bit more of that buttermilk. So what I'm doing tonight is a rolled and a cut biscuit. Now you can do with this dough a technique that's called a drop biscuit. And you can add more liquid and make them really wet. And then you can take a spoon and simply just get them. And of course these are not wet. And then just drop them into your pan. Now that's easy, but I like my biscuits to be a little more uniform. So the method that I'm going to use is an actual rolled biscuit. So on your board or your surface, you want to flour it real good. Flour your hands and flour your rolling pin. And now, you see it's not real wet, it's kind of scraggly. It looks like, I don't know, catfish dough. If anybody don't know what catfish dough is, look it up. Anyway, you're gonna dump that out on your board. And yes, I know it's not together and it's not pretty. But this technique, I promise, it makes a very tender, just soft biscuit. So you're gonna take it and you're simply gonna just press it. I press it into like a little mound. And then I turn it over and I do the same on the bottom. I'm not kneading the dough, it's not bread. So, and then I just make sure my surface is covered good. We got flour everywhere. And then I take it and I just roll it out into a real simple rectangle. Notice we're not working the dough too much, so it's not going to be tough. So then I fold one end over and I fold another over, kind of pat it down together, flip it, dust it, turn it, and then I roll out or press out something else. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use your hands and press it out. And then I fold it again. And it's real important that you turn it over on another floured surface. You don't want it to stick. Then you're going to waste your biscuits. So my dough looks really good and smooth and uniform. And now I tell people, you know, cut your biscuits at about 1/4 of an inch. I like them a little thicker because I like them to be tall. So I'm gonna roll mine out a little bit thicker than that. And then I'm gonna flour my biscuit cutter. And I'm just gonna press it in there. And it comes right out. Now, to get that pretty dimpled surface, I'm gonna show you a trick. That's just a flat nothing. You can use that if you want to, but here's what I do. I take my fingers and I put my thumb and my pointer finger underneath it. And then I work it around, just patting, whoops, and drop it. Until you have a fat little dimply top, pretty little biscuit. So then I'm gonna put it into my wonderful, best cooking friend, my Lodge 10-inch cast iron. If you don't have a cast iron, I feel sorry for you. You need to go get one, because biscuits are best in cast iron. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to show you how quick you can do it. Once you get the hang of it, it just goes right in. Now a lot of people, once they cut out their biscuits, they don't know what to do with what's left. Well, I'm going to cut these real quick and show you. what to do with them after I get these guys ready. And y'all, they're so cute. Can you imagine how pretty they're gonna be whenever they cook? So now you've got just kind of leftover dough. Now, you don't want to work it too much. So all I do is I bring it and we start back from the beginning. We put it into a pretty little mound, kind of squish it just a little bit to make sure all those ends are in together. And we do the same thing. And except this time, I only fold it once. Roll it over and cut it. Pinch it, place it. And you know, biscuits are appropriate for the messy kitchen because they make a mess. They make a big mess. Oh, and I meant to tell you guys, if you're just joining us in the messy kitchen tonight, we're doing homemade biscuits. They're real easy. Like the Instant Pot, you don't need to be intimidated by them. You just need to try it. I have a friend who has bought 2 Instant Pots and taken them back. She just bought her 3rd one. She tried it last night, Lacey, and she's using it again tonight. So I'm so proud. And she even posted on Facebook about it, and there were a lot of people who said they were scared of it, and now they're not anymore. And so she's kind of spreading the Instant Pot love. And biscuits are the same way. You know, try it. Don't be scared of failing in the kitchen because that's how you learn. So now you can do one of 2 things here. You can make a smaller biscuit with this, or what I like to do, Danny loves for me, and Danny's my husband, he loves a big old cat head biscuit. So I take my form and I put my leftover dough, and you do it just like a hamburger, and I put this big guy right in the middle. So now you have this beautiful uniform pan of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 biscuits. I know that's an odd number. If you're superstitious, you know, you don't need to watch the messy kitchen. So now I have another little cheat for you. Everybody likes butter on the top of their biscuits. I don't do butter until halfway through cooking time because the butter will burn in the oven. So if you want to start out and make sure you get a good glossy finish on the top of these biscuits, get your cooking spray. Spray the tops of those guys, whoops, and put them into your 425-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Now I have some that I cooked earlier here. Y'all, look how pretty. And look, you can see the layers in the biscuit. And they just, if you pop them open, I mean, they're so soft, and I mean, they're ready for butter right now. So at about halfway through your cooking time, you can melt some butter and just glaze it over the top in the pan and put them back in for another 10-15 minutes. So that's homemade biscuits, y'all. I mean, it's just very simple. So we're gonna come over here, and the big announcement that I have tonight for you is about cast iron. Next week, I'm gonna be doing a special blog post on how to cure and care for your cast iron. Cast iron is a very important part of Southern cooking, and I think it should be part of everybody's cooking. Cast iron holds heat longer, and it actually cooks more even. So my announcement tonight is that I have a brand new shiny 10-inch Lodge skillet. Lodge skillets, they're great. They have this heat ring here, and that means that this has been made separate so that it evenly distributes the heat throughout the base of the pan. Lodge has been in business for a very long time, and I love their products. I have several pieces of theirs. And what my plan is that when I get to 1,000 likes, that I'm gonna give this guy away, and I'm gonna season him for you. And I'm going to show you in the blog later in the week how to season cast iron, so that if you have one that was given to you as a gift, or if you buy one at a thrift store, you can do the same thing and cure that cast iron even if it's rusted. It doesn't matter if it's brand new or rusted. Danny and I bought one at a flea market several years ago, and we cleaned it with some steel wool and greased it up real good and cured it in the oven, and it was just like brand new. That's the thing. Cast iron is like cockroaches. It'll last longer than we will. So if you want to win cast iron, pay attention later in the week. I'll be making an announcement on how you can win this 10-inch Lodge skillet. So I hope to see you all later in the week, and I hope to hear from you that some of you have made some biscuits. So I appreciate y'all joining me on the Messy Kitchen tonight, but we're gonna go and we're gonna have probably biscuits and gravy for supper. We thank y'all for coming, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye.